Welcome to the Midlife Leap, a lifestyle talk show for women in midlife, sharing tips and interviews on topics ranging from business, career, current news, fashion, shopping, health, travel, and so much more. Please subscribe to this channel so you'll receive alerts of new episodes. And like this video so that other midlife women just like you will be alerted by YouTube to check out the Midlife Leap show. Are you considering a spring summer vacation, but you don't want to leave the U.S., but you really want some wonderful sandy beaches? Well, a Hilton Head vacation offers a combination of white sandy beaches, boating, fishing, golf courses, and plenty of fine dining and shopping offers. The best time to go for optimal warm weather is late April through mid-October. Now, we went recently and our trip was a bit off season in mid-March, but we were lucky enough to get a warm 70-degree weather so that we got to enjoy our beach time before the rain came and chilled our last vacation day. But either way, it was extremely enjoyable. Now, of course, off-season means very little traffic and crowds, so you can keep that in mind. Now, my most recommended tour of the Hilton Head Island is the Gula Heritage Tour, which was provided by a family of the Gula Heritage who were born and raised on the Hilton Head Island. They share about the island before the bridge connected them to the mainland. And they talked about the Gula life before commercialism took over and where the Gula people are. So go to www.gulaheritage.com to book your ticket if you decide to go to Hilton Head. Now, while we were there, of course, we had to check out Savannah, Georgia, which was next door. Now, if you happen to fly into Savannah, you'll pass by downtown Savannah, or of course, you can fly into Hilton Head Island as well. It's a very small airport there. Now, while we were next door in Savannah, Georgia, we enjoyed a tasty brunch, and then we took a trolley ride that provided a historic tour of Savannah. And we added the Prohibition Museum tour, where we got to legally have a cocktail in a replica of the first speakeasy in the United States. Now, should you decide to go to Hilton Head and you find out more fun things to do, let me know, because we're definitely going back. LinkedIn has become a necessary online tool for career and business growth, yet many of us don't know how to capitalize on it. My next guest will share some tips on how you can use LinkedIn to attract money-making opportunities. Portia Obing is a social media strategist with over 10 years of experience in social media strategy and content management. She started before Snaps were chatted, Instagrams had stories, and TikToks were talked. And her current specialties are Instagram and LinkedIn. She works to help women level up on LinkedIn so that they can attract the money-making opportunities that they deserve. And she also helps organizations turn their employers into LinkedIn superstars who advocate for the company, amplify brand messaging, and attract the best talent. Portia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Now, I am so excited because I'm one of the people who don't really utilize LinkedIn like I'm sure that I can. So share with us some of these money-making opportunities.
Yes, I mean, most people are not using LinkedIn to its full capacity, but I also think that has a lot to do with LinkedIn not doing a great job of advertising what the platform can be used for, because during the pandemic, obviously content creation increased significantly on the platform. So content creation in 2020 versus 2019 increased by 60%. So now it's turning more into a platform for content creators, turning into a platform for people to establish themselves as thought leaders, which thought leadership is one of the easiest ways that you can generate money-making opportunities, especially if you are a coach or a consultant. So taking all of your knowledge and information and putting it on the LinkedIn platform, whether you do that through posts, where in terms of LinkedIn posts, you can have so many different types of LinkedIn posts that can generate engagement on your profile. So you can have just regular full text posts. So your post that just has nothing but text, tips that you generate for people. Then you can also have graphics, which is one of my favorites. They're carousel posts that are similar to what you would see on Instagram. So those carousel posts that people can slide through. LinkedIn also has that option. You can have video posts as well. But the main goal for you is to share your expertise. But if you are a coach or a consultant, you definitely want to tell people the what and the why, but they have to pay you for the how. So you want to give people the what and the why. You want to generate your leads on LinkedIn, but then they have to pay you for the how. And then if you are internal within your organization and you are looking to level up in your organization, get a new promotion, attract new money making opportunities within the organization, you can also use LinkedIn as a thought leadership tool, just posting a lot of your content and knowledge that is relevant to the industry that you're in. One of my clients, she's now my LinkedIn bestie, she is in the marketing industry, and she uses LinkedIn as a tool to increase her visibility on the platform, but then also within her organization. And then she was able to leverage that into getting a promotion. But then also, if you're looking to leave your organization and go to another company, thought leadership is another great way for you to demonstrate your knowledge of the industry. And one of the biggest things, I would say, 99% of my clients are women. And one of the biggest things that they get scared about in terms of thought leadership is they don't know what to write, or they'll say, what if I say the wrong thing? And somebody comes under my comments and they're like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's doing. And then my question to them always is, okay, what if that happens? What's the worst? Like, what's the worst outcome of that? They're like, oh, well, they might talk about me. I'm like, but will you still live your life? Are you still alive? Are you still able to make money? What's the problem? So go ahead and move forward with creating that content. That's one of the easiest ways to attract money, making opportunities on LinkedIn. And then another thing I also tell people is that you have to have a full, complete profile. You have to have what LinkedIn calls an all-star profile, basically meaning all of the sections in your profile are complete, but you want to make sure that it's optimized, making sure that you're using enough keywords in the strategic parts of your profile. So the headline, the about section, and the experience section, with a heavy emphasis on the about section, because that's what counts for the most when people are conducting searches on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a keyword-driven platform, meaning that you want to have as many keywords as possible from your industry and your headline, your about section, and your experience section, as I mentioned. But the about section is what will count for the most when people are conducting searches on LinkedIn. And when I say people, I mean recruiters, potential clients. Those people, you want to include those keywords in your LinkedIn profile. So those are like the main things for attracting those money making opportunities.
I never heard of the keywords on LinkedIn. So how would someone determine what to use for their industry?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a great trick that I show people during my LinkedIn webinars. But basically, internally, when you're on the LinkedIn platform, they have a functionality where you can check the keywords in your profile versus the keywords that are used in a lot of the job descriptions for the jobs that you're looking for. So basically what you do when you're in the platform is you go to your profile homepage, and LinkedIn has a laptop version and an app version. Typically, I tell people the app version has, not typically, but there is more functionality on the app version than the laptop version. But for checking the keywords, I highly recommend that you use the laptop version of LinkedIn. So you'll go to your profile, and then within there, you'll click a button that'll allow you to make a resume. So what LinkedIn does is they create a resume using your LinkedIn profile. Basically, all they do is take your profile and put it into a PDF format for you to download. Nobody sees this. Like, nobody can go to your profile. So a lot of people ask me, they're like, oh, what if I don't want my employer to know that I'm applying for jobs? I'm like, well, yeah, nobody will see that you've created this resume. You literally are only doing it to find the keywords in your industry. So after you press that button for building a resume, it'll ask you the type of jobs you're interested in. And so for me, for example, I would put in something like social media strategist, content creator, and then LinkedIn, like all the all the bots on the back end of LinkedIn, they go through all of the job descriptions for social media director, or let's say that I used content creator, and they figure out on their back end what are the keywords that you have in your resume, which is really your LinkedIn profile, versus what are those keywords that are used in the job description. And then on the right side of the screen, you'll see something called a keyword check. It'll show you all of those keywords that you have in your LinkedIn profile versus all the job descriptions. It's the easiest way for you to check and see if you have enough of those keywords from your industry in your LinkedIn profile. It's better when I demonstrate it, but yeah, that's pretty much the way to do it, to finding those keywords. It's really, really important versus like other social media. Actually, Instagram used to be heavy on hashtags, so it was a hashtag driven platform. Now pretty much all the social media platforms are moving towards keywords, so that's good for you to include them into your LinkedIn profile.
Okay, it sounds to me learning that keyword tool is probably one of the main assets that people like. I need to hire her right now because
Yeah,
I know a lot of employers are on LinkedIn, or they want your LinkedIn profile, to before they even bring you in for an interview. So another thing that you said, I'm just thinking, if I'm a marketing individual or an accounting individual at a company, and you mentioned that you can become a thought leader by sharing things, although you're not looking to start your own business, by sharing things on the site. So they could probably share articles in their industry as well. But I think that's really great, because that kind of touches on, we're all a brand, regardless if you have your own company or if you're working for someone.
correct. Yes, you got it. Sometimes I forget that I am like in the personal branding industry, because to me it's like, oh, it's who you are. But yeah, it's most definitely personal branding when it comes to you sharing your thought leadership, for you showing up authentically on LinkedIn. That's a big thing that I also emphasize, is that especially for Black women, is not hiding yourself, showing your true self, speaking how you normally speak, and no code switching, no like wearing your hair the way you normally wear it. That's a big thing for me on LinkedIn. But yeah, it's all a part of your personal brand. So like you mentioned, sharing articles that are related to your industry, creating your own content that is related to your industry. A lot of people don't realize, because we're in our jobs every day, we don't realize how much knowledge and information we have, right? So there's something to you that seems so easy, but to other people, it's like, wow, I never knew that. For example, me mentioning keywords, like in terms of marketing, keywords is like it's a whole world of its own. There are so many pieces of content a marketing expert could create just around keywords and search engine optimization alone. So there's just so many ideas that you have, which is another thing that I offer for people, is like, if you need content ideas, I'm like a content cannon. We can set up a session, or like if you do a LinkedIn session with me, we can definitely come up with ideas for you on how to get started. Because the hardest part is for people to just get started. So for updating their LinkedIn profile, they don't know where to start. Just do something. I tell people, like, even if you just update one word in your LinkedIn headline, or if you update your profile photo, whatever it may be, just do something. That's the best way for you to just build the momentum and keep going.
Is it okay for an employee to post during work hours? Are a lot of employers okay for that? I mean, an accountant is supposed to be working on the books. Is that going to be an issue if they're posting about accounting on the site? How does that work out?
That's a fantastic question. One of my biggest things is to get companies to invest in their employees being active on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn even has the data themselves that they showed when you have engaged employees on LinkedIn, you attract better talent. They can also help support some of your biggest campaigns. Also, your employees collectively will have more of a reach on LinkedIn than your actual LinkedIn company page. So a lot of people have, well, a lot of companies have LinkedIn company pages where they're posting content where they could just give that content to their employees who have the highest reach on LinkedIn and have them share that content, and it's probably going to have a bigger impact. So I actually recommend that companies do have some type of internal program. I like to call them like LinkedIn influencers, the people who already have a strong network on LinkedIn, or training your employees to become stronger on LinkedIn. It's one of the greatest recruiting tools. It's one of the most like cost-effective marketing tools that any company can have. If they're doing it on the job, I mean, it's fine. It's going to help the company more than harm it. So yeah, I highly recommend that companies invest in some type of LinkedIn training for their employees.
Okay, and I'm sure that's better. They'll attract better candidates because it's sort of a referral, and they probably tend to stay longer with the company.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when people see that, oh, this company invested in the in the professional development of their employees, this company encourages people to really amplify their personal brands. This is a company that I want to work for. So you definitely attract better talent. There's better attrition. People are staying longer. So it's exactly what you said.
And as an employee, an accountant, a marketing person, administration, receptionist who's posting, building their brand on social media when they are applying for another job, because employers are looking at LinkedIn, I'm sure that makes them more attractive as well because it gives them more credibility. And you mentioned a thought leader in their industry. So can they command more money because of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell people all the time, especially when I'm working with my clients, one of the biggest takeaways that people get from working with me is that they realize like, oh, wow, I really have done all of these things. I have brought all of this value to my employer. I deserve to be paid a certain amount of money. And I'm like, yes, you deserve that money. All of what you're doing that you think, oh, it's not a big deal. You're either saving the company money, you're making them money, you're helping them reduce inefficiencies, you're helping them make things better. All of that has a value to it. You need to make sure that you are commanding the money for the value that you're bringing. That's what's most important. So I think after people work with me and we go through like all the things that they've done to put in their about section, to put in their experience section, by the end of it, they're like, oh yeah, like I should be making more money. I'm like, you absolutely should. You are providing a ton of value to the organization, and you deserve to have top tier compensation for the work that you're providing.
So you're like a career coach or a business coach, social media strategist, all wrapped in one brand.
Yeah, that's what happens. Sometimes, yeah, when people reach out to me, I'm like, well, we're just going to fix your life all together.
Yeah, because I would think that after sitting with you, maybe like you mentioned, some of your clients initially start out not as confident in themselves, but once they start seeing it on paper, written out in LinkedIn, and you break all that down with them and what they can post, I'm sure that's a boost of confidence because it's like, wow, I'm more knowledgeable than I thought. Wow, I have more experience or more to provide than I initially thought.
Exactly. That is it. Exactly. It is a huge confidence boost when you're able to pull out your accomplishments and things, again, that you think are like mundane, like, oh, anybody can do this. Like I was talking to one of my clients and she was like, yeah, I was just like working on a budget. It was like $40 million. And I was like, that's like most companies don't even have a budget of $40 million. And you were just like working on it. So those types of things they're perfect for helping people get that confidence boost.
Okay. And then switching it up to the business owner or the small business owner, whatever realm they may be in, of course, that's branding as well. How does that work out?
Yeah. So for the branding for the small business owners, like I typically work with coaches or consultants who are working with smaller organizations, or maybe they have a couple corporate clients. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just being very, very, very clear on how you solve the problem, which I think a lot of business owners, especially when people are first getting started off, they don't really know their offers. They don't know what they're doing. But my thing is, you just got to start with something, because my business, when I first started it, doesn't look like it looks like today. You know, like when I first started it, it was a completely different business to what I'm doing now. But you have to do something. So when I have my sessions with people who are coaches or consultants, and they're like, well, I'm still, working on my offers. I'm like, look, we got to put something on your LinkedIn profile. You'll figure it out as you go along, but you have to be very clear, because the decision maker doesn't have a lot of time, right? So if they're going to your LinkedIn profile, they need to see, these are your 3 offers, right? This is is what I offer and this is the outcome. That has to be very clear. And usually I have people put that in their about section, and then I'll work with them to make a LinkedIn company page. And then we'll also put that information in the LinkedIn company page. The LinkedIn company page, you don't really have to be active on it. It just helps with your search engine optimization within LinkedIn, and then also like on Google and other search engines as well.
And how does that work if they have a full-time job or a part-time job and they have their business on the side, they don't want their employer to know that they have a part-time gig?
Yeah. That's the struggle that a lot of people have is how do they really share their business and then also their personal profile? Some people say, oh, I'll just make a whole nother LinkedIn profile. And I'm like, that's not ideal, because then you have to go through the process of developing all those connections again. So like all those connections that you have on your first LinkedIn profile, it's really not worth the effort of building it all up again. And that's when I tell people, maybe you want to think about a different platform. Maybe LinkedIn is not the best place for you to be if you're really that concerned about your employer. But these days, the way millennials and Gen Zs are changing up the workforce, I know so many people who have their full-time roles and their companies are perfectly fine with them having their businesses. So before you're like so scared to do anything, I would definitely just have a conversation with somebody and at your employer and ask them, is it okay for me to, share my business? I won't be working on it during business hours, so that you can take away some of that anxiety and fear. But if they say, no, you can't have a business, you can't promote it on social, like on LinkedIn, just find another platform. Or the best thing for you to do is build an email list. That's really the optimal goal, is to build the email list, because you actually own that property, right? So like if LinkedIn were to go down tomorrow, all of my connections would be gone, but those people on my email list, I still have them on my email list. So that's really the main goal, is get people on the email list.
Perfect. Portia, how would a potential client reach you?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So I have a website, PortiaObing.com. So just my first name and last name.com. And I have different opportunities for people. So we could do a one-on-one 90 minutes LinkedIn coaching session where I send you a little bit of pre-work. It should take you no more than 30 minutes. And then I develop your headline, your about section, your experience section. If you're a coach or a consultant, I help develop the content for your company page. And then we have our 90-minute session together. And I'm with you as you're updating your LinkedIn profile. You're basically just copying and pasting the information that I came up with. And by the end of the 90 minutes, you have a new LinkedIn profile. It's about a 2-week process from the time you book your consultation call with me to actually having a new profile. By the end of the 90 minutes, you are done. There's no, oh, let me think about this and let me come back. Nah. I like to move. Okay, we want progress over perfection. You can always go back and change it, but we got to get something on the profile. So at the end of the 90 minutes, you are done. So that's my one-on-one coaching. And then also I offer webinars to companies helping their employees level up on LinkedIn. I have 2 signature webinars. And my sweet spot is usually ERG groups, so employee resource groups. That's usually my sweet spot. So if people are interested in that, they can go to my website and book time to chat with me about that as well. But those are the ways that people can work with me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. This was very informative.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.